Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tapobhikshena papanam Shantanam vitaraginam Mumukshunam apekshoyam Atmabodho vidhyate. Page 101, Shloka 40. Rūpavarṇādikaṃ sarvaṃ vihāya paramārthavit paripūrṇacidānandasvarūpeṇāvatiṣṭhate. Rūpavarṇādikaṃ sarvaṃ vihāya paramārthavit paripūrṇacidānandasvarūpeṇāvatiṣṭhate. So far what we have discussed is how to do the nididhyasana, and now as you are firmly abiding in the seat of meditation in your nididhyasana, what is the kind of experience, the result of it? Paramārthavit, it doesn't mean you are with Paramatma. Paramārthavit, it means you are the knower of Paramatma. Now when it is said knower of Paramatma, again we have this trouble of the triplets born: knower, known, knowledge. That is not the system in which this has to be grasped. The entire field of prapancha is recognized by our buddhi, where there is the triputi, the three involved: jnana, jñeya, jnana. Jnana, jñeya, that which is to be known, the knower, and the knowing process. So in this triputi, what is happening? There is a vritti vyapti, there is a thought that is enveloping, and after the thought has been grasped, the intellect is illumining it, cognizing it. Thereby there is the phala vyapti, the result of that vritti having grasped, now is being understood. So without that buddhi cognizing it, we are not comfortable. Unless the itch in the buddhi is satisfied, it will not stay quiet. You might have caught yourself or seen people that when they are in a new environment, they have come to your house or they have gone to somebody's office, there is something new that is chup nahi baithega. Either they will ask, what is this? Or without even asking, they will pick it up, start turning it around upside down and trying to evaluate. Because buddhi, the vritti vyapti is done, phala vyapti not done. There is that consistent insistence that kya hai? I need to know. That is why when we were as young as few months old baby, that you close your face and you suddenly take out your hands, as soon as they see your face, phala vyapti has happened. They have recognized. Can you imagine, right from the time that we are born, this vritti vyapti, phala vyapti in the Triputi has been there consistently. Without knowing what it is, that's why I called it the itch of knowing. Chup nahi baith sakta. When you are staring at somebody, try it at your own risk. When you are staring at somebody, the person that you are staring recognizes that you are staring and immediately will look around. Kuch galti to nahi hua? I look fine. Why are you staring? And then you will, because the phala vyapti is not there yet. So then you challenging the question, kya tak rahe ho? Huh? What is this for? This is for the grasp that you are seeing, but I don't know what you are seeing. And when it is extended few seconds more, even after being questioned, then it becomes threatening. Look at how subtle this thing is. The itch is very, very powerful. and very insistent. The buddhi is on the, like the child does the hata, ki, I need to know, manja, I need to know. And if it does not, then it becomes a very threatening environment. Now we try to apply the same siddhanta on this most subjective experience. Therefore, all these discussions in various formats about the same tattva through various Upanishads, various Prakarana Granthas that we keep studying, so that the buddhi is quietened, it is answered. That there is no more kich 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 from inside. In those answers, in those affirmations, in those erroneous habitual errors that which we are tied down to are removed as soon as it cognizes its source. It stops. Why? Here, that phala vyapti is not required. I am cognizing my own self and I do not require the bona fide certification of even my buddhi that now I have recognized. Therefore, this is not something of kind of a enjoyment. It is not something that happens through the buddhi. Up until then, there is buddhi. It does cognize, but doesn't start commenting upon it. In that there is no phala vyapti, because that which is being cognized, that which is cognizing and the cognition is all the same. Paramārthavit. Not the Laghu Atmavit. We are experts in Laghu Atmavit. What is Laghu Atma? Which will answer your question that you had asked. Laghu Atma is the Jivatva, the Ahankara. Where is it borrowing even the concept of I? Is from this Param Atma. Therefore, it is called the big I, which is Purantam Sada. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, we read it, that it is the consistent experience of I, but in the Chota Atma it is immediately identified with many layers. Here, removing all those identification, it just glows by itself as itself. That paramārthavit. Rūpavarṇādikaṃ sarvaṃ vihāya. Having tyaktva, having removed all the layers which are born because of my identification with rūpavarṇādikaṃ, etc. There is rūpa, rasa, guna, akara. All of these layers have been removed. Removed meaning my identification with those things have been removed. Rūpavarṇādikaṃ sarvaṃ vihāya paripūrṇacidānandasvarūpeṇāvatiṣṭhate. Svarupeṇa, that last ending in Sanskritam is very, very important. Therefore, when we were studying Sanskritam, the Shabda Rupa, when it was taught, we should have paid attention. It is Tritiya Vibhakti. Rupeṇa. As the paripūrṇacidānanda, I bask knowing my own self. Paripūrṇacit, paripūrṇa ānanda. Paripūrṇa, that purnatva that I have been seeking, searching always. See, whatever things that which we are in vyavahara getting identified with, we only identify with that which we maybe can give some sense of completeness. Filling fully, when that meaningfulness is achieved, fulfillment. But as we get closer and intimate with that vastu, we start seeing that there are a lot of dosha in it. There is an old song, तुझे चंदा में कहता था मगर उसमें तो दाग है, तुझे सूरज में कहता था तुम्हारे उसमें तो आग है. Nothing is comparable, because everything has something as a lack. As soon as I recognize that there is lack and it is not going to give me that paripūrṇatva, that pūrṇatva, my search begins again. And the most astounding thing is, while we are still experiencing this, we are already scheming and planning for the next. इडली हुआ चटनी के साथ, वड़ा हुआ सांबार के साथ, while this is happening, already coffee has to be there. Garma garam. It is like constantly scheming. That's it. In the book I Love You Letters, Gurudev says, which is like the essence of Narada Bhakti Sutra. So there he says that any other kind of attachment, that which we call as love, it cannot give you that fullness. There in Narada Bhakti Sutra he calls it not prema swarupa, it is vyapara swarupa. I mean, that word is so powerful, vyapara swarupa. As you said, it is not just mere transactional. Vyapara swarupa is that I am only attached only if it can give me that fulfillment, if not rejected. However close. Vastu, Vyakti, Paristhiti, situation doesn't matter. However intimate, however dedicated, however close that is, the moment we recognize that that which is not giving that fulfillment, the mere thought that there is something else now I have to pursue, it means mentally I have cognized and rejected this. But not completely rejected, because I understand also that most of it or none of it can give me that fulfillment. Therefore, I line up all of these things so that one after the other I can eke out that little tripti, so that I will say my day is done. But yet, what is the hope? I wake up next day again in trying to find something that which will give me that tripti. Not understanding that all those new layers of attachment that I am developing is becoming a web which I am not ready to let go. That is why it is said, samyak saram. Saram meaning that rasa that I am trying to see, to suck out of every experience so that it gives me some amount of. Therefore Upanishad says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvaṃ priyam bhavati. If it doesn't give me that, however close to my heart, I try to start seeing something else. I mean, isn't this the cause for all politics? Vyapara? Some of them are explicitly seen, some of them are implicitly seen. Nonetheless, it is vyapara. We constantly go with vyanika buddhi, vyaparastha buddhi. In Telugu there is a saying, మా ఇంటికి వస్తే ఏం తెస్తావు, మీ ఇంటికి వస్తే ఏమి ఇస్తావు. Always I should have the upper hand of getting more and more. If it doesn't satisfy that parameter, then it is not to my liking anymore. Therefore, the samsara that I have developed, though I recognize that it is not giving me that completeness, at least I am getting that little bit. Kuch to mil raha hai. Therefore, I am still clinging on to it. The moment this is tasted, my own self, which is of the absolute nature, that is the only time when we come to understand, oh, this is what fulfillment means. Paramatripti means. The others are vyapara tripti. This is paramatripti. Paripūrṇa chit, paripūrṇa ananda. Completeness of cognition is when there is the completeness of knowing. And here there is no agency required, agency like the buddhi or the instruments required, because it is of the nature of knowing. Therefore, they have to say the paramārthavit. I knowing myself. Paripūrṇam chit, paripūrṇam ananda. Now, there is one question that people ask. Very intellectual question. We put effort in this world only because we are not satisfied. That is the motivating force to run out into the world. And we have done so many great things, achieved so many things because we were not satisfied. Once you reach to this state where you say it is paramatripti, why would there be a necessity to run around, do anything? It will lead to lethargy. It will lead to inaction. Though sounding very logical, it misses the very core of this experience of paripūrṇa tripti. Let me put it this way. A person who is dissatisfied, terribly dissatisfied, will seek a dark corner in to lick on his own wounds. And we also make songs out of it. मुझे मेरे हाल में छोड़ दो. Somebody who is sad will seek that aloofness. But somebody who is, even in the materialistic sense, when you have that ananda of vyavahara only, what do? Immediately go share that ananda with the near ones, dear ones, those who are your close circle. Isn't it? Have you ever seen a happy person sitting in a dark corner, muh latkaye hue? Why are you like that? I am happy. No. They celebrate it. So far we have understood vyavahara only to be filling that gap within, but we have never experienced, therefore we can never fathom, to be expressing out into the field of action with joy. We know only for joy. Therefore that confusion occurs. And therefore we see that when they take whatever kind of field, they are incessant, tireless, they commit and they give 100%. There is no point saying 110%. You can give 100% only. Because most of us give only 5%, 10% maximum. 100% they commit. Imagine one Mahatma went around the globe 40 plus times, established 300 plus or 200 plus mission centers, handling the spiritual, administration, organizational and inter-organizational and all of this with ease. Not that he didn't have problems, but with ease. From the age of 40 plus to 70 plus. Single-handedly. Usually to run such, you require multiple layers of support. And to sustain it, we now require multiple layers. Single-handedly. Why? They were not working and functioning from the perspective of trying to find Ananda. It was from the standpoint that Ananda that I have experienced, may everybody have the opportunity for basking in it. राम नाम के हीरे मोती लूट सको तो लूट. Usually we have a hidden agenda in every interaction. What is it that I will get out of it? We call that as ROI, return on investment. This much time I am giving, how much should I get? This much effort I am putting, how much will I get? Always getting more. Therefore, this is giving more than what we can take. What is the motto? To give maximum happiness to the maximum people for the maximum time. If I may add, nothing to improve upon it, but if I may add, in the shortest and the sure shot method. No other method can guarantee you this kind of conformness. Only this Vedanta, only this Jnana. So don't assume that having reached this state, it becomes a state of, dullness. Ananda, how can it be dull? If it is dull, it is not Ananda. If it is Ananda, it cannot be dull. Don't also assume that this Vedanta becomes something which will make us inactive. That is when you are most active, because there is no hidden agenda. I have only to give, I have nothing to gain. I have nothing to expect. Only to give. And it is not like they have to put an effort to give. It is overflowing. They are only channelizing it to different sources. Paripūrṇacidānanda, that is the experience. And for the first time when we experience it, therefore the Upanishad says, Samagayan aste. They jump in joy and sing, ha voo ha voo ha voo. Why? This is what I have been searching. This is what I have been seeking. And alas, it was so immediate, it was so intimate. How could I not see it so far? And once from that perspective, any thick problem will only appear infinitesimally very small, insignificant, as though it is not. Therefore, they are not shy, they are not running away from the world. Can you run away from your own body part when you are identified with it? Whenever there is a wound, psychologically we think that the whole world is against us because everybody passing by seems to be rupturing it. किसी का हाथ लग गया, किसी का wallet लग गया, किसी का पर्स लग गया. It seems like it is constantly rupturing. So what does the entire system of our body does? Over-cautiously protect it. Why? Tadatmena. Because of that identification. Now without that identification, when I know that this entire creation is nothing but my expanse alone, you only realize that I have given up nothing other than my wrong sense of identification. Removing that wrong sense of identification, all that I have cognized is all but me. Therefore, if there is anything required in that expanse called me, my heart overflows with compassion towards the direction. So there cannot be inaction. And probably that is the person who actually does proper action. Continuing. jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ. I'll repeat again. jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ. pare nātmani vidyate. cidānandaikarūpatvāddīpyate svayameva hi. jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ. pare atmani. It says there nātmani. You take that na and put it later. Pare atmani na vidyate. This Triputi does not exist because this experience is not of the realm of intellectualization. But the emphasis that is given in Vedanta to intellectualize every single concept up until this point, suddenly the gear is shifted, saying, uski koi zarurat nahi hai. It is not required any further. Those who have experienced it don't have that itch in the intellect. Until we experience it, it is like bothersome from inside. I seem to get it, but I am not getting it. Believe me, it is a very good place to be. That means the intellect is in the right direction. Out of nispruha you give up, that is dangerous. But you are still trying to pursue that, why am I not grasping it? And when the intellect comes to the point of understanding that, oh, this is not something which I can grasp, all other grasping has happened, because of which the moment the light of the torch tries to turn towards the battery, it stops. Now you don't extend the example. How about we put a flexible neck on that and still while it is, and you can see the battery. The buddhi's grasp happens, because of which the moment it grasps that much, there is shanti. We keep hearing it, but we don't process it properly. When we say dhiyo yonah prachodayat, one thing very clear, that the buddhi does not have the capacity of prachodana. It cannot illumine. It is borrowing that from somewhere to illumine. What clicked for me, I will try explaining. I think I have given this example earlier. What is on my hand? Now what is on my hand? Thank you. Because when I try this with Balvihar kids, they are like, there is space, there is air, there are molecules, there are atoms. Let us be realistic. There was a pen, I cognized it. There is no more the pen, that also I have cognized. Similarly, when you internalize this, when I am trying to process something, many times there is understanding. I have grasped it. And I know that I have grasped it. Many times, unfortunately, I keep trying, and I fail at it, and I have not grasped it. I know that I have not grasped it. That who is illumining both the understanding and the lack of understanding, that is the illumining aspect. That the moment that understanding clicks in, this asantrupti with Vedanta stops. Because up until then it feels like these are all mere words. I cannot grasp it. It cannot be that I am so dull that I cannot grasp it. हिंदी में कहते हैं दिल पे ले लेते हैं. When you objectively see the process and then cognize, oh, the grasp, the understanding is also illumined. The non-grasp and the non-understanding is also illumined with distinct clarity. That who is illumining, that is me, and that where it is illumined, that is the buddhi where I am identified with. Disidentify from it, and you will see that in your presence the understanding or the lack of understanding is happening. Hopefully I have gotten across. jñātṛjñānajñeyabhedaḥ pare Atmani na vidyate. Why? cidānandaikarūpatvāddīpyate svayameva. Cidānandarūpatvat. Rūpatvat Panchami. Because of the nature of the self is Cidānanda. Illumining is its nature. Before it can illumine the buddhi for any purpose, it illumines its presence. Therefore, I, the illuminator, am the illumined, and the illumining is my experience. Therefore, there is no triputi in this aparokshanubhuti, direct, immediate experience. And once I understand svayameva, it is my very nature, my very lakshana and not guna. Guna means attributes. Attributes can always be gained, lost, regained, reconstructed. Whereas lakshana has always existed, never was lost, never is gained. Rest of all experiences are events in our life. This cannot be an event because there is no triputi involved. An event meaning it insists that which I have not experienced, I am experiencing now. That which I have not, now I have. This has always been. It has never ceased to be. And now I know that I am the knowing. Swayameva. And in that, when I sit, completely abiding in it, firmly abiding in it, there is no more habitual error that occurs. Even while eyes are open and I am interacting with the world outside, this knowing is not lost, is not covered up, is not something that which we ever lose ever again. Then why is there the insistence of sitting on the seat of meditation and attaining to nirvikalpa samadhi? There aneka janma samprapta, the antakarana has gone through. The startling thing is, though we have changed bodies, with each body, do you think the antakarana has changed? Isn't it the same equipment we are continuing forth with? So, aneka janma samprapta. So, the antakarana is almost battered, butchered. So, when you sit on the seat of dhyana, absorbed in samadhi, in nirvikalpa samadhi, there the buddhi is functional and the buddhi gets the tripti of this Atmajnana. It heals as though. The profoundness of that experience is now partially given to that buddhi. That is nirvikalpa samadhi. Thereby all habitual erroneous past which have been acquired through the lives is burnt away for good. Buddhi doesn't have that insecurity anymore, that I have to keep clinging on to it. Because सबसे बड़ा मिल गया. Am I getting across? But that nirvikalpa samadhi is not the ultimate. Atmajnana is the ultimate, because nirvikalpa samadhi again is limited to a corner, limited to a space, limited therefore by time. Out of compassion you are allowing that buddhi to heal. कि भैया अब भटकने की आवश्यकता नहीं है. That is called Atma Prasada. Prasada of having cognized that I am that Paramatma. The buddhi is now shared. That tripti is relished in that buddhi. Now, having relished that ultimate, it has no more wagering to look for any delight. Because he now understands that the light is within. There is nothing else to seek to delight. Whoever named that word for enjoyment as delight is literally getting away from light. Enjoyment means away from the illumination. But now once this Atma Tripti Prasada is gained in that Samadhi Sthiti, the buddhi is also Shanta. Therefore, Samadhi Abhyasa. The thing is, English is so limited. For all of this, we have to use the same word, meditation. Earlier till now, what was said as nididhyasana is a contemplative process. Here, it is the pure experience shared out of compassion for that buddhi. That Atmananda Rasa is experienced there. Otherwise, buddhi, though Atmajnana, buddhi will still keep getting agitated. If you want to serve the world, first serve your buddhi. Therefore, nirvikalpa samadhi. Hopefully that point makes it clearer. And moreover, we use these words so callously without knowing the depth and bhava of each word as to what exactly does it indicate. Limited by our own vocabulary again and lack of the experience, Vedanta seems to trigger maximum frustration. सुनने तो बैठे हैं पर there are still so many buts. Therefore, manana has to be profound. That whatever that you are understanding, writing notes and everything, it has to be revisited and try poking as many questions at it as possible. Our gurus were never scared of, being questioned. In fact, they encouraged. The whole Upanishad is named as Prashna Upanishad. How can we say that there is a dogma of, no, thou shalt not ask? Why? If the manana is solid, that all doubts are removed. Therefore, ask the questions, ask out of humility to understand, but never be scared of the fact that, अरे मैं फिर से question पूछ रहा हूँ. Ask until the doubts are clarified. Thus, thereby, that clarity helps in nididhyasana, firmly abiding. There is nothing else pulling us down. It's only clarifying. And once that clarification is done, abidance in that Atmajnana happens. Now the continuation of that abidance, so that the buddhi which has been battered so far cherishes it, the same meditation is further continued into nirvikalpa, and then when you function in the world, it is always from that standpoint of Paramatma Tattva only. That is called the Sthita Prajna functioning in the world. And just like us, Arjuna also had that question. And this seems to be so counterintuitive. What did he question there? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. This seems to be so immobile, so inactive. Does he even work? Does he even function? Does he even have a movement? Does he even speak? More vigorously they function. Hope the entire sequence, when I summed it up at the end, it throws some light and clarity into various steps. 42nd shloka. Repeat after me. Evamaatmaranau dhyanam. Sorry. Evamaatmaranau dhyana. Mathane satatam krite. Uditavagatirjvala sarvāgnānendhanam dahet. That should have been dhyana mathane, but when we stop at the 8th syllable, it is not dhyanam, it is dhyana. Mathana is another word. When the yajna is being done, havan is being done, today we very carelessly bring a matchbox or a lighter and light it up. There is a sacred process which is chanted with sacred mantras while that process is being done, where Agni is created, and that process is called Arani Mathana. Arani means there is a wooden base cup, and then there is a strong stick. Usually this is made out of some dense wood. And on the top of this wooden stick, there is another cup, wooden cup. So there is a base cup, there is a stick, and on the top of it there is another cup. For this, the Purohits and Pandits have to be Balosi, Ojosi, Dhrudosi. Agarbatti kinds cannot, because you need to exert a lot of force. Then a rope is tied to that, not tied, but looped around, just like how you do the buttermilk churning. So to that rope is tied or looped, and there is a Purohit who is holding from the top with balance, not with complete pressure, but leaving little room so that that stick can now rotate, but enough pressure that there is a friction created in the lower churning base, that arani, the cup. Agnimide purohitam. So that starts the mantra that we are invoking. This is the Rig Veda first mantra. That with this mantra I am invoking the presence of fire, which is avyakta in the vastu, to become vyakta. So that entire event is taken as an example, because fire has both aspects as its nature. It illumines as well as it burns. Both aspects are its nature. So when the fire or the friction is created, the fire is not born. It is expressing from that which was avyakta to vyakta, from unmanifest to manifest. It was already there. In fact, when you read, it says, even in Atmabodha it is mentioned, Rupa is because of Agni. Any form that you see, the shape that is, because it is maintained by Agni. You invoke that Agni from that Vastu and take it away, it turns down into pure format of carbon. What is holding it in its place is the unmanifest Agni. What a beautiful way to perceive things. That the shape of something is in its shape because Agni is avyakta. So it is already there. By that friction, I am giving it the correct condition to become vyakta. As soon as it becomes vyakta, it lights as well as burns. Similarly, with this mathana of nididhyasana, shravana manana nididhyasana process, the churning process, it reveals that which I am already, the illumination. As it reveals, the entire field of aneka janma samprapta karma prabhava is burnt away instantly. So the sanchita is burnt down to ashes. Agami karma is also burnt to ashes. Prarabdha is like the peanuts which are roasted. I am specifically taking peanuts as an example, because in Bombay, those suburban trains that are flying, in the evening time when he starts selling those peanuts, there is a tagline that he puts. He says, time pass shengdana. Time pass pali, time pass shengdana. करने को तो कुछ है ही नहीं. You are in the train. Until you get down, this is time pass. So prarabdha is roasted that it cannot germinate any further. But whatever is left is now time pass. Until the prarabdha lasts. Get the concept, not the example. Until the prarabdha lasts, the body will continue. Logically speaking, pay attention here. This is another confusing aspect. You may want to stop writing and listen to this aspect. If there is complete realization and annihilation of the entire Karana Sharira, there is nothing more connecting with this body, mind and intellect. But the prarabdha prabhava, body, mind and intellect still continue to exist, and it can function only if there is a trace of this Karana Sharira still persisting, existing. Jivan Mukti has happened, but the Sampurna Mukti is Videha Mukti, when this conglomerate of body, mind and intellect is dropped. That is when that Karana Sharira is completely burnt out. Therefore, for such masters, as much as their Janma Tithi is celebrated as Jayanti, when they leave the body, it is also a day of celebration only. It is only in Andhra that we say that when somebody dies, it is Vardhanti. How come that it is Vardhanti? It can be used only for a realized master. Vardhana meaning it now expands. It is no more limited. Expands to what? That which is already his nature. That which is all pervasive is no more limited by that last little trace of Karana Sharira, which is still hanging in to continue that body, mind and intellect and its prarabdha. But it is not an obstacle because it is nicely roasted and salted. So the rest of the life, channa mungfali, time pass. Am I getting across? I am trying to make a very difficult topic in an easy way to understand. Because we keep hearing that as soon as Jnanodaya, Jivan Mukti has happened, then logically this thing should not continue. Is it that the logic is failing? No. There is a very tiny trace of that Karana Sharira left, so that the prarabdha can continue, but because it is roasted in this Jnanodaya, that there is no more germinating effect, that there is no punarjanma for it. Hopefully that concept is comprehensively understood. Therefore he says, Evam Atma Aranau Dhyana Mathane Satatam Krute, when it is continuously, incessantly done, Uditavagatir Jwala, that Atma Jnana Jwala, when it is, when you come to cognize it, The reason I seem to fumble is I don't want to use a word which says that it is born, it is only expressing that which was already there. In that, sarva ajnana indhanam. The ajnana becomes the fuel, the hate. It gets burnt. And yet there is a light trace of it to sustain the prarabdha of this body, mind and intellect. So the culmination is when the body is dropped. Clear. So we'll stop here. Om Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramayaः, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.